No, don't close that one. In WhatsApp? Yeah. This is that. Okay, now fix your thing. Okay, and then you can actually go back there. You then you can share screen. Yeah, share. If you want to share. Share the screen so you can share. Oh, here.
Okay. Bhagavad Gita also I need to open that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just tell me.
There are two guns, he said, right?
He said
two guns.
Whatever
it is, just bring it up.
No, those are all Bhagavad.
Yeah, just share whatever you like.
First we'll do the class.
Bhagavad Gita also.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can go upstairs. Okay, you can begin.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayet. Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Sri Gurum Sri Utapadakapalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunadhanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Sri Visakanvitam Sya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Devi Pranamami
Morning, sir.
Hare Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Krupa Sindhubhyev Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaurabhaktavrinda Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshnaye Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Itnamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschat Deshatharine. Good morning everyone. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Actually, I'm not eligible to speak at all, but His Grace Siddhari Prabhu was actually made me to speak. Please excuse me for my bad English and whatever any mistakes which I'm saying anything. Excuse me with your grace. Today we are going to discuss Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2nd, sloka 20 and 22 and 23. So the sloka 20 says, "Na jayate mriyate va kadachin bhutva nayam bhutva bhavita vana bhuyah ajo nityam shashvatayo purano nahanyate hanyamane sharire." For the soul, there is never birth nor death, nor having once been does he ever cease to be. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, undying, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Qualitatively, the small atomic fragmental part of the Supreme Spirit is one with the Supreme. He undergoes no changes like the body. Sometimes the soul is called the steady or kutastha. The body is subject to 6 kinds of transformations. It takes its birth in the womb of the mother's body, remains for some time, grows, produces some effects, gradually dwindles, and at last vanishes into oblivion. The soul, however, does not go through such changes. The soul is not born, but because he takes on a material body, the body takes its birth. The soul does not take birth there, and the soul does not die. Anything which has birth also has death, and because the soul has no birth, he therefore has no past, present, or future. He is eternal, ever existing, or primeval. That is, there is no trace in history of his coming into being. Under the impression of the body, we seek the history of birth, etc., of the soul. The soul does not at any time become old as the body does. The so called old man therefore feels himself to be in the same spirit as in his childhood or youth. The changes of the body do not affect the soul. The soul does not deteriorate like a tree, nor anything material. The soul has no byproduct either. The byproducts of the body, namely children, are also different individual souls, and owing to the body, they appear as children of a particular man. The body develops because of the soul's presence, but the soul has neither offshoots nor change. Therefore, the soul is free from six changes of the body. In the Katha Upanishad, also we find a similar passage which reads, न जायते म्रियते व विपच्छिन् नायं कूटश्चिन् न विभुवा कश्चित् अजो नित्या शाश्वतो अयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. Kada Upanishad 1.2.18. The meaning and purport of this verse is the same as in the Bhagavad Gita, but here in this verse there is one special word, vipaschit, which means learn or with knowledge. The soul is full of knowledge or full always with consciousness. Therefore, consciousness is the symptom of the soul. Even if one does not find the soul within the heart where he is situated, one can still understand the presence of the soul simply by presence of consciousness. Sometimes we do not find the sun in the sky owing to clouds or for some other reason, but the light of the sun is always there, and we are convinced that it is therefore daytime. As soon as there is a little light in the sky early in the morning, we can understand there is a that is a sun in the sky. Similarly, since there is some consciousness in all bodies, whether man or animal, we can understand the presence of the soul. This consciousness of the soul is, however, different from the consciousness of the Supreme, because of Supreme consciousness is all knowledge past, present,
If you accept that,
all knowledge past, present, and future. The consciousness of the individual soul is prone to be forgetful. When he is forgetful of his real nature, he obtains education and enlightenment from the superior lessons of Krishna. But Krishna is not like the forgetful soul. If so, Krishna's teachings of Bhagavad Gita would be useless. There are two kinds of souls, namely the minute particle soul, Anuatma, and the super soul, the Vibhutatma. This is also confirmed in the Katha Upanishad in this way. Anur aniyan mahato mahiyan atmasya janto nihito gugayam tam akruto pashyanti vitashroko dhatu prasadhan mahimanam atmana. Both the super soul, Paramatma, and the atomic soul, Jivatma, are situated on the same tree of the body, within the same heart of the living being, and only one who has become free from all material desires, as well as lamentations, can, by the grace of the Supreme, understand the glories of the soul. Krishna is the fountainhead of the super soul also, as it will be disclosed in the following chapters, and Arjuna is the atomic soul, forgetful on his real nature, therefore, he requires to be enlightened by Krishna or his bona fide representative, the spiritual master. Yeah, actually, I consider this shloka as like a foundation for any spiritual practice. Unless we know we are soul and we are like a eternal exist, and we only material body perishes. From We cannot move progress in our spirituality from that foundation itself. What we have to do, it comes to know only by the enlightened by Krishna or by his bona fide representative, we come to know that knowledge. I just want to share a few Bhagavatam references connecting to this. Um, it's like Yeah, first canto, 19th chapter, 24th sloka. Actually, um, to begin this shloka, the pretext is like if we know our death and we are like going to die, we should be better planning. Only if you have a better knowledge, you should have better planning. The better knowledge comes from Guru or from Krishna. Krishna again, Guru is also like a more than Krishna. He sends his representatives to actually to know about the understanding of the body, and also our experiences also teaches us, and we can correlate to that, and we can realize we are not this body. And here Srila Prabhupada clearly says like everyone dies. It's like he's not limiting to anything. And also he's clearly saying only the material body undergoes the changes, not the soul. Even though we are like eternal, but we are like a small atomic fragmental part of the Supreme Spirit. We are not like supreme. We should be knowing that. And also only Krishna has the complete knowledge, and also he remembers like past, present, future. But souls, individual soul is prone to be forgettable. Actually, because his real nature itself is like association with Krishna, but he forgets because he is away from Krishna. Only through bona fide spiritual master we can actually can understand Krishna, and we can come close to Krishna, and we can actually break the cycle of birth and death by the knowledge of the transcendental knowledge given by the spiritual master. Um, so on this pretext, actually, um, Parikshit, knowing he's about to die in 7 days, not just Parikshit, we are all die in 7 days only. If we can understand, we only have 7 days. We only live in 7 days. From Sunday to Saturday, we have only 7 days. What Parikshit did, he's already learned. In the Katha Upanishad, he clearly said, Vipasshit, learned. Learned people can understand what to do when this body is about to perish and everything. He knows. So he's a learned person. He Prashchita Diksha he does, and for that all the saints and everything they want to bless Parikshit, and they come, and none other than Sukadeva Goswami himself comes to deliver Parikshit, to give knowledge. And Parikshit asks like, is there any? I mean, I just have only 7 days. Is there any way to actually get delivered? Then Parikshit says like, not matter of 7 days or anything. I mean, if you surrender to Krishna, it is matter of seconds. Just you can immediately you can get delivered. For that, he says small example of Katvanga story. He has only two Muhurta Kalas, and he comes to know about his death, and immediately he surrenders to the Lord, and he becomes trance in the Lord, and he gets Lord. And so Parikshit surrenders, and he asks here "O trustworthy Brahmanas, I now ask you about my immediate duty." He is saying my immediate duty. So he doesn't have anything else to do. He wants to only do this. Please, after proper deliberation, tell me of the unalloyed duty of everyone in all circumstances, and specifically of those who are just about to die. Here he is also mentioning everyone. And also second case is about to die. For those two, is like only thing is like to surrender to Krishna. There he gives like and Sukadeva Goswami gives so much knowledge about how to surrender to Krishna and everything. Even Parikshit is like a devotee from the birth itself. So he is like all ears. He is surrendered to that, and he is enjoying each and every pastime. And this is one type of like one side of the coin. The other side of the coin, people, they think they are like eternal. They do all the bad things and everything. They don't know the real knowledge. And the one of the reason is Kamsa. Even he knows he's about to die. When he comes to know that, until then he was very actually dear to her sister and everything. Immediately he changed his emotions just because of his selfish motives. Uh, That's like Kamsa, it comes like a 10th canto, first sloka, and first chapter, 34th sloka. Here, um, the unembodied voice addressed him like, "You foolish rascal, the eighth child of the woman you are carrying will kill you." See, the Parikshit, what he did, he is also like a king. Uh, Even he, body is dear to everyone. He doesn't curse the Srungi, whoever cursed him, but he accepted, he tolerated, and he know everybody will die in one day. And what to do? Immediate duty to surrender to Krishna. He got it from knowledge from the spiritual master, and he practiced that completely, submerged into that in for 7 days. But here, this idiot is like, after hearing this, what he immediately does is like 35th sloka. Until then, he was like holding the reins of the horse, and after hearing, immediately he leaves that and he holds the hair of his sister, and he wants to immediately kill. He takes out his sword and to sever her head from her body. This is the demonic mindset. I mean, one or other way, people like me, it's like we are not. I mean, I'm not like Parikshit or maybe near to Kamsa or something. We should be knowing. I mean, this knowledge, whatever we are like, we can correlate. We should not be Kamsa, and we should be like Parikshit, and we all know this body is like getting die, and only soul is eternal. Here, Srila Prabhupada clearly says, see, the so-called old man therefore feels himself to be in the same spirit as in his childhood or youth. That means, see, from childhood we are like very active. Our mind is very active. Over the pass of the time, our whatever the consciousness still be the same, but the spirit will be still be the same. Only the body loses its like wear and tear and everything. It won't actually support your spirit. So clearly it shows you are the same, but this body is changing. So if we can get that realization, actually, we can invest what to do and what not to do. That is like investing on Krishna from the instructions of the spiritual master. This is like that's a realization which I want to share. Before moving to next sloka, I'll ask like if any when have you any realizations or any questions, please ask.
Share something? Please share.
This is a very good point that how this contrastivity of Kamsa's story and Parish's story, they both get a notice that they're about to die. One person tries to fight the death, another person accepts the death as God's mercy. So two contrasting situations. Materialist, that's what it does, like Kamsa. The moment that there's notice of death, starts fighting it. Whereas a devotee happily accepts it, like Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj happily accepted. That's a nice contrast.
Kalam Maharaj.
Kalam Maharaj, yeah.
Gopal Krishna Maharaj.
Yeah.
That's great. But you want to share something? I have one point to share.
Okay, share.
Bhagavatam, it's amazing. Bhagavatam starts with the death.
Yeah.
And this question, would you say, Paris Maharaj asked 2 times in one canto, first canto. What is the duty of the man? What is the immediate duty of man? In all circles, Atha Prachhamit Simsiddhim Yoginam Paramam Guru Purusha Yatkari Amriyamanisha Sarvata. What is the work to be done by man in all circumstances? What is to be done at time of death? He again asks as next chapter, 19th chapter, that Tatasva Pricham Ima Viprache Vishrabhakritya Itikritidam Sarvatmana Briyamanisha Krityam Shuddham Tatta Parishutta Abhayukta. Great sages, please let me know again what is to be done when a man is supposed to die. So Bhagavatam starts with the death, that what a man should do at the time of death. So Bhagavatam is preparing for a death. And the Kamsa people don't understand how to do what was to be done at the time of death. So they have tackled the death. So Parikshit Maharaj knows what, because he is the association of the devotees, what should be done at the time of death, so he's doing the right thing. It's amazing, right, Prabhu?
Anybody?
It's like the point, like, we also do this 7 days.
He tells every time.
Nothing also. No problem. I feel like Charita Charina, like we're just doing the same thing again every day. So again and again. Otherwise there'll be nothing different.
Yeah. Now I'm moving to the another sloka.
Next number.
Prabhupada made a
Text
nice
number
point.
22. Chapter 2nd.
You made a good point that if you don't recognize that you're a soul, you cannot even begin spiritual life.
Yeah.
In fact, there's no reason to have spiritual life at all. Spiritual life is a fantasy if there's no soul. So recognizing that you're a soul completely changes your worldview. That's why today society is so materialistic, because people don't recognize that they're a soul. If you think you're a body, then you act according to the impulses of the body. So it would be a great service for all you brilliant philosophers and scientists to prove that the soul is non-physical. Because Krishna is not proving it in the Gita, he's explaining, he's describing it. But if you go to a university, I've given many, many lectures all around the whole world at universities in Europe and America. And I've given lectures where I try to prove the existence of the soul, and the students argue violently and vociferously against whatever arguments I present, like out-of-body experiences or Ian Stevenson's reincarnation evidence. So we have not yet acquired perfect evidence in terms of empirical and material evidence that the soul is different than the body. So if you could perform that service, that would be a great job.
We have Vishal with us now. Vishal is doing this.
Because the materialists don't accept Shastra. That's another thing we have to recognize. As devotees, we accept the authority of Shastra, the authority of Krishna and his representatives, the sages. But people in general do not accept the authority of Shastra or the great sage. There are no great sages to people in general. Those are homeless bums. If they met a person like Vyasadeva, they would call him a homeless bum. When he came down to Hastinapur to impregnate Ambalika and Ambika, he did not bathe because that was part of his tapasya. He had long matted hair and mud all over and no bathe. He would be a homeless bum if you met him today. That people would just call him a homeless bum, but he's a person of highest knowledge. So there's no people nowadays in general in America and even all over the world don't recognize that there are saintly persons and sages with superior knowledge. So you can't appeal to scripture anymore. You have to use logic and scientific evidence to convince people, because the playing field has changed radically.
Very good point. Very good point. We'll move on to the next point.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Text 22, second chapter. Vasansi jinani yada vihaya navani gruhnati naro parani tada sharirani vihaya jinan anyani samyati navani dehi. As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. Change of body by the atomic individual soul is an accepted fact. Even the modern scientists who do not believe in the existence of the soul, but at the same time cannot explain the source of energy from the heart, have to accept continuous changes of body which appear from childhood to boyhood and from boyhood to youth and again from youth to old age. From old age, the change is transferred to another body. This has already been explained in the previous verse. Transference of the atomic individual soul to another body is made possible by the grace of the super soul. The super soul fulfills the desire of the atomic soul as one friend fulfills the desire of another. The Vedas, like the Mundaka Upanishad and as well as Svetashvara Upanishad, compare the soul and super soul to two friendly birds sitting on the same tree. One of the birds, the individual atomic soul, is eating the fruit of the tree, and the other bird, Krishna, is simply watching his friend. Of these two birds, although they are the same in quality, one is captivated by the fruits of the material tree, while the other is simply witnessing the activities of his friend. Krishna is witnessing bird, and Arjuna is the eating bird. Although they are friends, one is still the master and the other is the servant. Forgetfulness of the relationship by the atomic soul is the cause of one's changing his position from one tree to another, or from one body to another. The Jiva soul is struggling very hard on the tree of the material body. But as soon as he agrees to accept other bird as the supreme spiritual master, as Arjuna agreed to do by voluntary surrender unto Krishna for instruction, the subordinate bird immediately becomes free from all lamentations. Both the Mundaka Upanishad and Shvetashwara Upanishad confirm this. Yeah. Samane vrukshe purusho nimagno anishaya sochati muhyamanaha jushtam yada pashyati anyam isham asya mahimanam iti vitashoka. Although the two birds are in the same tree, the eating bird is fully engrossed with anxiety and more senses as the enjoyer of the fruits of the tree. But if in some way or the other he turns his face to his friend, the Lord, and he knows his glories, at once the suffering bird becomes free from all anxieties. Arjuna has now turned his face towards his eternal friend Krishna and is understanding the Bhagavad Gita from him. And thus, hearing from Krishna, he can understand the supreme glories of the Lord and be free from lamentation. Arjuna is advised herewith by the Lord not to lament for the bodily change of his old grandfather and his teacher. He should rather be happy to kill their bodies in the righteous fight so that they may be cleansed at once of all reactions from various bodily activities. One who lays down his life on the sacrificial altar or in the proper battlefield is at once cleansed of bodily reactions and promoted to a higher status of life. So there was no cause for Arjuna's lamentation. Yeah. Now, actually, I want to share one of the pastime in Bhagavatam, 6th canto, 15th chapter, Chitraketu. Um, Chitraketu was a great king. He was explained by Vyasadeva as like a very learned. Even see, we have Nanda Maharaj, I think, saying Aho Bhagyam, the sloka, right? Actually, whoever like a very great personalities, if he visits somebody, it doesn't mean it's actually useless. Something is there is going to happen. If Angirasa Muni is like wants to come to Chitraketu to deliver him and providing knowledge, because he was already like in a platform of learned, but still he has some material inflictions. It Angirasa has observed that. So um, even he wanted to give knowledge, but this Chitraketu, he doesn't have. I mean, even though he has like a kingdom, he was ruling very nicely, and he's taking care of all the wives and everything. But even he is, I mean, he is like a devotee, but still he has some wish, like he wants to have some children. So. Uh, I mean, if Krishna gives, it's okay. If Krishna doesn't give, it's like lamenting. He wants to have it. So he was like, I want to have the children, and he was like lamenting. When the great personality Angirasa came, um, he was like lamenting, and Angirasa, he wanted to give the knowledge, but uh, seeing his miserable position, he was like, okay, this guy is not in a position to listen. Okay, then he actually gives like a um, one fruit to actually I mean like he blesses him with the child. Then after 1 year or so, I mean everybody is like very after to that baby, and like they're putting so much attachment and efforts and everything, and the since he is a Chitraketu is like a king, he has so many wives, and all these wives are like get envious, and they thought he is not the king is not putting so much interest upon us. So all this because happened because of this child. If we kill this child, everything will be solved. Then all these I mean all these twins, they become like demons, and they killed that small baby, and they acted in front of everyone like I mean they are crying for the baby, and Chitraketu, who has like a very great attachment to this small baby, he was also like crying. He was also like so much lamentation. During this time, Angirasa, even he accompanied Narada Mahamuni to this event and to this stage, and thought this is the right time to give knowledge to this Chitraketu, because all these days he thinks if he has a child, everything will be solved, and like that. But even if he has a child, he got his death, and I mean the child has a death, and he doesn't, I mean, realize like everyone has to die in one day. So he has so much affection, and now actually Narada Muni gives so much knowledge on context of that. Chapters, I mean, Canto 6, 15th chapter and the second sloka. Here Narada Muni is clearly saying like, O king, what relationship does the dead body for which you lament have with you? And what relationship do you have with him? You may say that you are now related as father and son, but do you think this relationship existed before? Does it truly exist now? Will it continue in the future? Like that here, clearly Narada Mahamuni actually asking, and it continues to that. Act, he understands now slowly. Chitraketu mind is like all the ignorance and everything slowly is getting rid of, and he started to surrender. When he surrendered, as earlier we discussed, we need a learned and also like Krishna's representative to actually teach him the proper lesson. So here, after surrenderance, he is asking like, because you are all great personalities, you can give me real knowledge. I am a foolish as a village animal like a pig or a dog. Because I am merged in the darkness of ignorance, therefore, please ignite the torch of knowledge to save me. So he, like this, actually, he was surrendered, and he was now hankering for the real knowledge. Then Narada Mahamuni gives all this transcendental knowledge. While doing that, he wants to, I mean, if there is there any remote chance he might be having some material attachment, so he wants to actually even to get rid of that. For that doing, he brings whoever died, the baby, the child baby, like whoever died, he brings it back, him back, and he, out of transcendental potency, he made him to be in this body, I mean, that whatever the dead body, and the dead body started speaking, like speaking with whatever considers father, right? The Jiva Uvacha. Here, the baby is saying, like, by the mystic power of Narada Muni, the living entity entered his dead body for a short time and spoke in reply to Narada Muni request. He said, according to the results of my fruitive activities, I, the living being, transmigrate from one body to another, sometimes going to the species of demigods, sometimes to the species of lower animals, sometimes among the vegetables, and sometimes to the human species. Therefore, in which birth were these my mother and father? No one is actually my mother and father. How can I accept these two people as my parents? This has like blown away Chitraketu's mind. Even remotely, if he has any attachment after hearing all these things, okay, he gets the real knowledge. Bhagavad Gita, same thing. All this soul, I mean, we are all these bodies. We just transmigrates from one body to another, like we are changing the old clothes. Um, this is the actual purport we can actually correlate to this Chitraketu story. Then it finally, Chitraketu gets some knowledge, and from Sankarsana itself gives him knowledge, and from that he gets some aeroplane, and he's like wandering, and he goes to Kailasa, and he sees Lord Shiva and Parvati in a very intimate, very close thing. And here, small, I mean, it's not very like a big aparadha or anything he did. He just criticized Lord Shiva and Parvati for being so intimate. Uh, Actually, there is small difference between Shiva and Vishnu. He is like Shiva is like connected with three gunas. So whatever activities, sometimes it shows like he is with contact with material things. So here he Chitraketu criticizes Lord Shiva. Then Ma Parvati actually gets very angry, and she curses him to fall into very like a lowly birth in a demonic thing. And even after that cursing, then Chitraketu did not like became any like um, affected with that. He was like very tolerant, and he is accepted whatever it was happened, and he actually like pleaded them, and I mean, explained the glories of the Lord, and he just went away and he accepted. He went to Vritasura body, and here these glories actually explained by Lord Shiva himself, who is none other than like the Parma Vaishnava. He says, devotees solely engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of the Godhead, Narayana, never fear any condition of life. For them, the heavenly planets, liberation, and hellish planets are all the same. For such devotees are interested only in the service of the Lord. Here, clearly, this mood of the pure devotees is clearly explained by Lord Shiva himself. They never hanker for anything other than the service of the Lord. Even see, even he's supposed to get the higher, like a supreme personality of the Godhead, but due to some small curse, he fallen to the demonic body. Even then, he was not actually moved away with that thing. Still, he was. I mean, because of mercy of the Lord, he still carries that wisdom, and we have beautiful Vritasura prayers, where very beautiful prayers. He surrenders to the Lord, and finally he gets the Lord. This entire
What is prayer? Oh,
So many verses.
I'm not actually. Yeah.
no, go on. Sorry. I thought you
Yeah,
were
yeah.
reading one verse. Okay, go on.
Yeah, one of the verses like I mean, I'm not wish for any thing. Birth after birth, I will be. I want to be like a servant of you. That's the best prayer. So yeah, I'm concluding this for second sloka. Whatever which, if you have any queries or any
As baby
comments?
birds are never satisfied until the mother comes, as a calf is never satisfied until drinking milk, as a chaste wife is never satisfied until the husband returns, I hanker to render service to the pure devotees of the Lord.
I was talking with Siddha Hari and I was sending the message to Siddha when I was driving to Michigan that how the great devotee is a perfect mood of I don't want to go anywhere in the world. I just want to do service to Krishna, like Prabhupada mood. Bhagavatam is teaching every single page. But isn't it contradictory of like some going back to Godhead? We also should desire to go back to Godhead, right?
If you're a neophyte devotee, you should desire to go back to Godhead. If you're an advanced devotee,
Siddha Hari, what are you saying? Is it right?
listen, I'm finishing.
Hold on, let him finish it.
Listen, I'm finishing my statement.
Bisal, you know what I have.
Neophyte devotees are advised to aspire to return to Godhead. Advanced devotees are already in Godhead, even though they reside in a material body in the material world.
But let's say if a neophyte devotee say I don't want to go back to Godhead, is that a correct?
Then he's an advanced devotee.
No.
If he has, well, I mean, if you're a materialist, you don't want to go with God because you're attached to the material world.
Yeah.
If you're a neophyte devotee and you're suffering the material, you want to go back to Godhead. That's very good.
But
at the neophyte stage. If you're an advanced devotee, you're already back to Godhead, even though residing in a physical body. Prabhupada explains this many times in many.
You want to say something?
No, I clearly
I have a question then. Can I ask you?
Wait a second. First of all, let's comment on this is another topic which is very beautiful.
This is not the topic. It's the same topic, Prabhuji.
No, it's a different topic. Any comment somebody said? Anybody?
Prabhupada wrote it in many purports to explain this. In 1975, in Atlanta, there was a huge Sankirtan Darshan. All the best book distributors converged. The Prabhupada was in Atlanta. February 1975. Tripurari Swami came there with all the big book distributors from O'Hare Airport in Chicago. Tripurari Swami told they had a private darshan. Tripurari Swami said, Prabhupada, you're always telling us we should want to go back to Godhead. But actually, we don't want to go back to Godhead. We're so enlivened just to serve you. We want to serve you lifetime after lifetime. Prabhupada said that's real devotion.
But what's the
That's
saying?
real
We will come
devotion.
we can talk later also while doing puja.
No, we can just it's a very important point afterwards. Yeah.
Afterward, yeah.
Because if you're an advanced devotee, if you have no attachment to the material body, like Haridas Thakur's body is being beaten to death in 22 Mark, but he wasn't at all unhappy about that. He was praying to Krishna not to punish these sinful rascals because he didn't feel any pain. It's called pratyahara. All the powers of Ashtanga Yoga reside in the Bhakti Yogi. And one of the powers of Ashtanga Yoga is called pratyahara, withdrawing your consciousness from the physical body. So Haridas Thakur, he felt no pain. He's being violently beaten to death by Muslims who want to kill him. He didn't feel any pain at all. He was simply in anxiety that they would be punished because Krishna can't tolerate offenses to his pure devotees. He knew that Krishna was going to finish those guys badly. So Haridas Thakur prayed, Lord, this is in Chaitanya Bhagavat. Lord Chaitanya said, my chakra became helpless. I came down immediately to cut them to pieces. But because of Haridas's prayer, my chakra became powerless. The weapon that can destroy the entire universe had no power. Because I'm conquered by the love of my pure devotees. So the Lord did not punish those rascals. Ordinarily, they would be punished. They would be cut to pieces for offending a pure Vaishnava. So the point is, Haridas Thakur is just absorbed in ecstasy of chanting, whether you're in the material world or whether in Naraka. You just quoted that sloka from Lord Shiva. Not what's the, whether I go to
Narayana Parasarve.
yeah, Narayana Parasarve, Nakutas Chanda Vidyati, Svarga Apavarga, Narakesu,
Abitulya Artha Darshan.
Abitulya, Tulya means equal.
Tulya
Darshan,
means not even nothing. Tulya.
yeah, not
Tulya
even,
means not even.
yeah, not even, so the pure devotee doesn't care even if he goes to hell, because he doesn't identify with the body, he has no anxiety, he's already back home, back to Godhead. Therefore, it's only the neophyte devotees who aspire to go back to Godhead. Advanced devotees are already back to Godhead, wherever they reside.
Yeah.
This is our philosophy. That was a beautiful quote. Lord Shiva was instructing Parvati. You have cursed Chitraketu wrongly because he's a great devotee. He did not really insult me. He was actually glorifying me that I'm so transcendental I can give a Bhagavatam class with my wife on my lap. No one else could get away with that kind of behavior, but Lord Shiva can do it because he's totally transcendental. He's a pure devotee. Chitraketu was a pure devotee. They're both pure devotees. Chitraketu was glorifying Lord Shiva, but Parvati misunderstood that, so she cursed him. But even after being cursed, Chitraketu came down from his airplane and offered obeisances to Mother Parvati, and accepted the curse, not trying to counteract, just like King Frigga did not try to counteract. Whereas Kamsa, the demon, as soon as he heard there was death, he tried to immediately make some material arrangement to counteract death. This is the point. This is our philosophy. It's crystal clear.
So let us analyze the references you're giving.
Sorry?
Let us analyze the references you're giving one by one. Number one, you gave the reference that how Sri Prabhupada in that personal darshan to the book distributors, he says that it's very correct that you're desiring to serve me, lifetime after lifetime. And that's what the devotee should desire, to serve Sri Prabhupada lifetime after lifetime. Now, where is Sri Prabhupada? He's always in his spiritual consciousness. So, if you're not serving him all the time, 24 hours a day, so, I mean, to be able to serve him all the time, 24 hours a day,
Are you hearing, Prabhu?
that means being in the spiritual world.
Oh, I'm sorry, can you repeat the point?
To serve him 24 hours a day, all the time, on all occasions, and without a break, that means to be in the spiritual world.
Absolutely.
So now the question you are raising is that should we as neophytes desire to go to spiritual world or not? And I'm saying yes.
Even advance.
But no, not advanced devotee. Advanced devotee is probably saying he is situated in spiritual world all the time. But we have to understand, I'm not advanced. I'm a neophyte. So I have to desire to go to spiritual world to serve Sri Prabhupada. Because I want to serve him all the time.
Can you finish?
I heard.
Can you finish it?
So now the second preference
Sorry.
you gave, that somebody who's in whether a hellish planet or Swarga, for him doesn't matter. What matters is him being able to serve the Supreme Lord, Supreme devotees. That's what we desire. If you can serve the great devotees of the Lord all the time in proper consciousness, that is spiritual world.
So
what else is spiritual
So
world?
that means he doesn't have to. Can I?
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to go to spiritual world. He's here, okay, right?
Who?
Any devotee, neophyte
He can be anywhere. That place is spiritual world.
Yes. Prabhu, the point is,
Should we desire or not?
let's
As
see
neophytes, yes,
let's
we
see
should desire.
Prabhupada. Let's see Prabhupada.
If
Yeah.
you're a
Prabhupada has
neophyte,
no.
I'm a neophyte.
Prabhupada not
you
going.
should aspire to become an advanced devotee.
Yes, so I'm
Prabhu,
If you're an advanced devotee, you're always in ecstasy.
yes.
This is a different
Instead of
topic.
remaining a neophyte devotee and trying to make an arrangement that you think is good for being a neophyte devotee, you should, as a neophyte devotee, you should aspire to become an advanced devotee.
Yeah.
Because advanced devotees are in ecstasy constantly, even if their body
I
is.
don't want to be advanced also. I just want to serve the gentleman who has given his life,
That's the best.
getting stroke from the cow, getting heat from the sun. That is my spiritual world. Life after life. If I continue distributing books for Prabhupada in the heat of 110 degrees,
Yeah.
that is my spiritual world.
Yeah.
I don't want to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Even Krishna calls me, come, I'll do. Okay, if there's material desire, let it be material desire.
That's correct.
Why the hell you want to go to spiritual world?
But isn't it that we belong to the spiritual, Prabhu?
See,
As
that's what advanced devotee thinks.
Prabhuji,
of,
we
but
are
advanced
only
devotee doesn't-
speaking one side of the
hold on,
coin.
hold on. Let him speak.
Whatever
Okay.
Srila Prabhupada has given, this instruction at the same time he has given to go back to Godhead.
Yeah,
Even
I
that
have
also
one
he has
respect to
given.
that, but yeah, that you are.
But if you are really
There's no material
believing
desire.
Srila Prabhupada,
Yes.
if you are really believing Srila Prabhupada, of course, this side he has mentioned. This also he has mentioned. Now actually that's the other sloka which I am about to read, but time is like we ran out of the time. Huh? Huh?
put the words
Actually,
in the
here clearly,
Prabhupada.
clearly, Srila Prabhupada was actually mentioned. We all should be like this. We all should be go to
I need
Krishna.
your help now.
No, in fact, if you do a keyword search.
You are only taking bits and pieces of Srila Prabhupada and fighting for
Am
them.
I taking bits and pieces?
No, if you do a keyword search, you'll find this prophet in one purport where it says, advanced devotee never desires to go back to God.
Yeah. But first,
You-
so our desire should become Prabhu. What would be our desire?
That's what I'm saying. One context, Srila Prabhupada said something. In one context, Srila Prabhupada said something. We are only speaking about one context,
No,
but
you-
we are not we are forgetting about the other context.
You said prophet instructed us to go back to God, he did not.
What I'm trying to say here, there are.
He
Yes,
did
he-
not instruct us to go back to God. He said the neophyte devotee does wish to
instructed.
go.
I don't want
It's
to
good.
argue on that.
It's good for a
No,
neophyte devotee.
we're not arguing it. We're just raising points, valid points. There's no
Prophet
Mother,
said
to
it's
your
good-
point, to your
it's
point, we
good
should.
for a neophyte devotee to aspire to go back to God.
No, but you said who? For a neophyte
You
devotee,
should
he
aspire.
should aspire to become an advanced devotee, isn't it?
What's that?
A neophyte devotee should aspire to become an advanced devotee.
A neophyte devotee should aspire to
Okay.
become an advanced
No, what is
devotee.
it? What is the definition of advanced devotee?
One is always absorbed in ecstatic love of God.
That's what you
one is
want.
Fully absorbed in
Now,
service.
if it's possible to do that here, I will do it here. Whatever is possible to be always absorbed in Krishna service, I want to be there.
Can I?
Can
I ask
is it the right desire to have or not?
Yeah.
I want to be at
Can I
a
ask a
place
question?
where I can be always absorbed in ecstasy of serving Krishna. Is it the correct desire or not?
Yeah,
Can I ask a question?
That's my
Can I? Okay, your point is that.
but the only way to do that is to follow.
Prabhu, can I ask a question?
instructions of
That's something-
service and
I have a
sadhana.
question. I have a question. Okay, I don't want Prabhu. Honestly, being my level of life, I'm not trying to be rude. No, I'm not trying to be judging myself. But I don't want to be pure. I don't want to be neophyte. I like
You stop it.
if it is material service. I like my service, and I want to keep doing it.